Welcome to the review of Civil War 2. So, I'm going to be doing a full review of the latest release from HOD. HOD. I have no idea how to perfectly pronounce that, but I'll go based on that. So, this game was released on Tuesday, September 17th. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a full review of the title, show you some pros, some cons. Now, I've played the alpha version. I think it was version 0.9. Yeah, 0.989, something like that. That was the build number, not version number. Anyway, that build really impressed me. It was part of my first impressions, and I was really impressed with the game. It offers a lot of features that I didn't normally expect coming from a publisher and a developer. A couple of features that kind of took me back was the epic scope of the game. That was one of the biggest things of this game. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And we're going to touch on that in a second. So, this game, one real cool thing I got to mention before we even dive into this game is Matrix Games and HOD kind of partnered with Civil War Trust. If you look on the top of the left of your screen, you'll see that. They partnered with Civil War Trust. So basically, when you buy this game, a percentage of the proceeds will go to Civil War Trust. And their job is to preserve our Civil War battlefields in America. Their job is to make sure that they're untouched, they remain basically the way they were back in the day, so we can experience it and recognize those battlefields for how they changed and the lives that were lost and the causes that were fought for. So I think this is a really big thing, and I think this is huge, especially for Matrix Games and HOD. I give you guys huge props for doing that, because this doesn't happen a lot. Usually a publisher or developer releases a game, here it is, and they actually took one step forward and say, look, let's do something else too. Let's not only make a Civil War game, but let's protect those battlefields that were fought on. So that's really amazing. I gotta give them huge props for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I don't think my old game is going to be in here. I don't think so. I think this is what I just started, today. Okay, there's no point in that. I started a game a couple days ago. I was hoping it was here, but I just loaded a new version of the game. Probably got overwritten. So basically, I'm going to show you all the campaigns and scenarios there are in this game. There's 3 tutorials, as you can see. Then there are basically 2 campaigns. You have a campaign that starts in April, another one that starts in July. Now, there are 2 scenarios. You have the Shiloh, and you have, where is it? Bull Run. Here we go. So Shiloh and Bull Run are your 2 main scenarios. There's no other scenarios. This is something I would love to see hopefully added in future updates. Maybe a scenario on Gettysburg, Antietam, and such. Those would be really kind of cool. Then you also have a campaign on a New Mexico campaign. I haven't yet to play this. I pretty much focused on either the July or the April one. I'm a person that loves campaigns, so I really don't go too much into scenarios because I love a long, drawn-out campaign that takes me weeks to play and finish through, which kind of gets my blood boiling. You think about it at work. How am I going to flank the Union, or how am I going to flank the Confederates? It gets your mind off things, which is kind of cool. Anyway, that's how I roll. All right, here we go. So this is the game. As you can see, it really looks good. I mean, the textures on here look absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at this. It looks beautiful. Down to the down to the little trees they texture, which are really amazing. Now, there are other things in this game. Other things like units, obviously here you got a whole bunch of units. You got the Confederates, the Shenandoah Force, Army of Potomac, of course, under Beauregard. You can also zoom out, of course. Now, one thing that I gotta mention to you guys is how amazing this map is. In fact, this is my first pro that I actually put down on my written review of how incredible it is. It goes from all the way in Massachusetts. Let me put the state borders here so you can see it better. All the way from Massachusetts, you get a little bit of England and France here. They only have boxes here. Goes all the way down Florida. You have the bloody Bahamas here. Cuba, Dominican Republic, all the way to there we go, Mexico. So you have a huge, huge, beautiful map. That's one huge thing for me. I was kind of taken back by this map. Other things that I liked, this notification system. This is kind of cool. They actually have a notification system it seems inspired by Rome Total War. At the end of the turn, you'll get these notifications that show up on this right-hand side. You can click on them and see what's going on, which is really cool. It's nice. Then you also have these messages, kind of letting you know what's going on in the map. Exit that out. You have the mini map here, of course, give you an indicator of what kind of terrain that is. The top left here, you got a lot of cool stuff, guys. Strategic Atlas gives you basically everything you can do in the game. Gives you a list of all the units under production. Can do Department of War decisions, government decisions, moving to capital, of course, industries. Now, I believe there's going to be more and more that come down the road. I notice as I play the game, more and more show up. So that's really cool. Complete embargo on cotton, which is kind of cool. Which is what the South did back in the day. And you just basically have a lot of really cool stuff. Now, one thing about this game is it's not your traditional Civil War game. It's not like, hey, Union's Confederate, go at it, and whoever wins, wins. You can do a lot of cool things in this game. For example, you can get the foreign powers to come in on your side. So if you're the South and you're at the brink of losing a war, if this meter reaches 100 right here, they can come in and, you can get the military power of England and France. Now, whether you can control them or not, I'm not sure. I haven't gotten up to that point. And traditionally, I was trying to, when I play these games, I try to keep it an American affair. So you got rail points. Now, rail points are huge in this game. And why I say that is I have this army down here. They're not that big. They're about 3,000 men. If I move these guys here, that's a while. That's a long march. But you can go here and click Move by Rail. 77 days to 15 days. Makes a big difference. So I like that they included that. It's a really, really huge feature. And it doesn't seem like much, but when you're in the game and let's say, for example, the Union are taking over, they just beat your army in Tennessee, and you have nobody there left, and you have about 2 divisions here, you can get them on a rail and head them there within, 15 days. And you can have an army in Tennessee to hold that front together, which just comes in extremely handy. And I had to do that once or twice. We're moving troops around. Comes in extremely handy. I actually had a Union army coming down here, and they were about to break into North Carolina. I had to move troops from Tennessee over here to kind of hold them down. So, covered those 2 aspects. Other things you can, I'm really impressed about is the decision menu. This, guys, this is what really, if you saw my first impressions video, this is what I'm talking about here. This is really cool. You have tons of decisions that you can put all over the map. So for example, I can make a telegraph line, put them over here, and basically what a telegraph line does will augment development by 5 points. Okay. I never did a telegraph. Defensive works. This comes in handy. If you want to protect Richmond, you can put defensive works here. Make sure that when the Union Army comes down, they got to fight their way in. A few other things that I noticed that they just added are rough seas, and then you have build outpost. From the original alpha version, I noticed they added that. Partisans, you can make copperheads, partisans ambush. You could do tons of things in this game. And that's what really kind of took me back, which really is kind of cool. And I believe there was an option here where I can make railroads, but I don't see that here. As I say, railroads are really important in this game. Military recruitment. This, I really like this. Matrix and HOD really put time into this. Instead of going through a headache of developing units and having the AI take command of it, this is how easy to make a unit is. Click that. You just go to infantry brigade that has the state next to it, so Virginia right here. Just drag. I'll actually put them in here. Drop. That's it. That's how easy it is to make a unit. Now all of a sudden they're not going to show up right away. They're actually going to take time to develop, and eventually they'll show up here in a couple months or so. The one thing I would like to change out of the system is, instead of having Tennessee, in North Carolina and actually having to move down there, it would be kind of cool to just have infantry, cavalry, and artillery and just kind of move them wherever you need to. But either way, that's fine. It's a very easy, simple system. Movement in the game is also really simple. This is how easy movement in the game is. You literally drag and drop. That's how quick, that's how simple, that's how easy. In fact, I'm actually going to go ahead with that. I'm going to actually do that because I want to actually take out this Union Army here. They don't have too many. Ooh, oh, no, I'm sorry. They do have a lot. So one thing you'll notice in this game is everything is represented by power. Now, basically what this means is this tells you the strength of your force. Now, I'm not that crazy about this type of system. I don't understand it. To me, power, I don't know what 927 power means. Is that good? Is that bad? Should I have 3000 power? I don't know what that means. Are the units in good shape? I mean, what's going on? Now, if you want a better understanding of what's inside your force, you can just go over and click on this, and it kind of gives you a heads up. It changes now, it switches over to 19,000 men, 1,900 horses, and 48 cannon. Much easier to understand than 927 power. I wish this was kind of the default, but so we covered movement, we covered Union forces. There's a lot of options that military units can do. You can basically destroy the rail, which comes in handy if that's, if you want to do that, especially if you want to cut rail here and here, kind of limit the Union Army. Destroy depots, you can build depots, build forts. You can do a lot of things in this game. You can even develop divisions, corps, and armies in this game. So I can put a couple of brigades together and form a division, a couple of divisions together and form a corps. The only problem is it's not as intuitive as I would like it. I actually had to spend some time to figure out how to actually put a leader in command of a brigade, and I'm still trying to figure out how to actually make a division. I haven't been able to figure that one out yet. Another thing is you can synchronize movements in the game. That was coming in handy. Force march, of course. This is handy if you're in trouble. And infrastructures, you can just enter a fort or something like that, which is nice. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a couple turns, show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to go through a couple battles, show you all that other stuff. Okay, there we go. Alright, I just want to do all my movements so I actually can play this after this review. and actually continue this. Now this is not going to be a long review. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes, just trying to give you guys the pros and cons. And then I'll do some gameplay videos in the future so you guys can enjoy if you guys are into watching rather than playing games. So I got the Shenandoah Force. I'm actually going to go after Harper's Ferry because they abandoned it. And changing this basically changes the posture. So you can actually have your unit become a defensive posture, assault the stronghold, which I'm actually going to do. I'm going to do an all-out attack just in case there's anybody there, which probably there's not. Him, I'm going to have him defend because actually has better troops, so I might as well. Let's go to Morgantown. And then I'm going to move these guys north, help him out. Kentucky right now, I believe, is in the Union side, which is fine. I'll come and get that. State Guard, Tennessee, Nashville Force. Now, one thing I noticed in the game, some units get locked. I don't like that. I never understood the point of locked units. It's just something that, I don't know, why display a unit you can't use? You know, and it kind of is like, especially if the Union is coming down with a massive force and you got forces stuck here and they're locked, and you want to move them to kind of do something with them and they can't move, it's very frustrating. So before we proceed with the turn, I just want to show you a couple cool things that before we move on to your turn, I need to let you guys know about. One thing that I liked is this. These unit icons. Now this is not copy and paste. They didn't just take a portrait of Longstreet, cut it out, and paste it on this game. They actually modeled this. This is actually an art, which is really cool. You know, the easy way of doing it would have been copying it and pasting it on, but you lose something there. They actually model this, and it looks really good. It looks really, really good, and I like that. And I give props to HOD for doing that, for actually putting the time and effort into making these cards here. Let's see what else I can cover here before we do another turn. I would say one con that I didn't like is this card system. This card system works great for board games. I'm sure many of you guys probably played board games in the past and like it and works. That's fine. But it doesn't translate that well into a computer because there's so much more you can do with a computer. You know, there's screen real estate. You can actually have a different system because what happens is when you have about 50 cards, you're going to have a lot of units. You're going to have brigade after brigade, even regiments in here. So what happens is you're going to constantly keep going like this and just going back and forth, and it gets really painful, especially when you're trying to combine units. It gets painful to deal with that. That's one thing that I noticed. So what I would like to see is kind of a switch from a card system to something a little bit more easier to manage. Okay, so what we're going to do, I did that one, I moved him. Ooh, who's this guy? Ooh, you know what, I'm going to actually invade with you guys. I'm actually going to see if I can move up to Huntsville. Alright. Develop the Army of the Tennessee here. You'll go here. Just trying to do quick turns. What am I going to do with this guy? I'm actually going to have him here. I can't move these guys, darn it. Alright, that's, I think, good enough for now. Ooh, he has a huge force. 6,200 men. Jefferson City. You know what, General? I want you to actually go after Lexington. Okay, so we're going to end the turn. Move on. So the turns are processed in this like 15-day kind of system here. You're going to see that meter go all the way to the end. It handles the AI and the days. So as you can see, we have a battle going on. And I lost. Dang. Well, actually, it's not too bad. They lost more men. So I got a Confederate defeat. McDowell kind of won that out. That darn stocks. Alright, that's fine. Well, went back to Manassas. It's alright, I'm going to hit him again. Maybe bring up a force from the south. I think I was bringing up the South Carolina force. There's probably a couple thousand men there. Now again, like I said before, this game is epic in scope. There's a lot of things I think you need to do before you end the turn. I just quickly ended it, give you guys a heads up what's going on. So what I'm talking about is, in terms of epic in scope, you got to do diplomacy. You have to see what the Navy's doing, where you're developing brigades, developing land, so you can put in railroads, or roads, or anything like that. You have to do kind of keep on top of things. I'm having defeat after defeat. Now, one thing is, excuse me. Ooh, okay. So one thing I noticed in this game here is that sometimes battles happen really quickly. So the first battle you saw earlier, you know, it gave you some time and kind of gave you a red and green meter. It was kind of going back and forth, which is really cool. I can understand that. But sometimes battles happen really quick. You don't even see what's going on. Then all of a sudden you get a Confederate defeat. And you can't even see where the battle was fought because you can't even move this window, which kind of stinks. So what I usually do is I kind of angle like that. And where is this? Battle of New Madrid. I think that's where over here. Okay, so those are the guys here that got messed up. Alright, so now it's early August. Each turn is about 15 days. And I think this is my North South Carolina force. You see how fast they got up here? What I'm going to do with this Carolina force is I'm going to move them up to Manassas. You know what? Forget it. Let's see if I can get them on a railroad. 7 days. That's much better. Instead of 39. That would have taken a couple of turns. So the Army of Potomac has 18,000 men. And Stack receives 18 command points and needs 27 to operate at full potential. Alright, so I guess there's nothing I can do. I'll just go on the defensive in Manassas here. At this point, they're not in any better shape. So, and I just took Harper's Ferry. And they really don't have any forces here. There's a Baltimore garrison, but that's not going to really do much. I want to see if I can take Frederickstown. That's a level 2 city. They really don't got any forces. I even took... What's he doing? Oh, he only got militia. General, I need you to... he can't even attack. Darn it. Because it's... Oh, it's down here. Okay, cool. Alright, so I took that. I'm actually going to move my forces to Frederickstown. Kind of try to take as many Union cities as possible. Maybe I can get the Army of the Potomac. Actually, there's 2 armies of Potomac. That's one other thing that I noticed in this game. You can't change the name of the units. It would be really kind of cool if I could. I haven't been able to figure out a way, so that would be really kind of cool. The developers can put that in. I'd be really happy. So I'm going to have you guys defend. You guys are going to go here, and then I'm going to actually move him up to Gettysburg. So hopefully maybe that panic will actually take a part of his army and have them head north enough so that this South Carolina force meets up here and then crushes what's left over. It's a nice strategy. It's good enough for the 5 or 10 minutes that we have for the demo here. Norfolk guns, good. I even have a Navy. The CSS Virginia. Ooh. Ironclad. Okay. So you really can't touch him because he's locked. You're going to go up here. How are you doing, General? And you, jeez. So they have to be at 16 command points to operate at full efficiency. So I'm not really going to do anything with Zolokoffer. And you got messed up before, so you're going to come down. You're going to stay there. I'm actually going to have you move to this side of the river. And how many troops does he have? 135 power. So as you can see, I mean, as I move the map, the frame rate does drop a little bit. And that's primarily because the game requires a lot of resources, a great deal. And that's primarily because of the textures, everything that's going on in the game, all the units and stuff like that. It's actually one of the most resource-demanded games that I've run into lately. More so than, I would even say, Empire Total War. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I think we're good. I just want to make sure everything is good. I'm like that. I should have checked actually these notifications here. A lot of times I miss them because they're so small. I guess the reason when I play Rome Total War and I notice them is because there's like a huge graphic that happens and they all kind of like chime in here and it's easier to see them. But it's a great idea that they did that here. So I have Beauregard and Manassas. I have Carolina troops coming up from the south. I think that's about like 2,000-3,000 men. A lot of times I don't like, as you can see, there's a lot of Navy action happening. I try not to deal with that because there's just too many things to deal with besides the Navy. And I know it's something I need to start utilizing. I'm probably going to move the fleet out of Norfolk Harbor and try to engage them a little bit, kind of keep them on their toes. So it looks like I took Frederickstown. So one thing I need to mention to you guys in this game. Oh, nice. Oh, right. I had a Confederate victory. Beautiful. Where was that? Where the heck is it? Again, this is where it happens. I think that was that town that I had them. Yeah, Lexington. Good. Good, I had a Confederate victory. So one thing I need to mention to you guys is with this game, I've been playing it for quite a while. 2-3 hours here, an hour there. Compare that to the first game in this series. The first game was called American Civil War, done by same developer. And I can tell you, the first game, American Civil War, I played for like a total, I would say 10-15 minutes. It wasn't really that, it really didn't win me over. This game, I'll leave it that I played it for 3 to 4 hours. That's how different it is. And it actually has got me into this game. I actually think about how am I going to invade the North? How can I defeat the Army of the Potomac? The way you can analyze a good game is you keep thinking about it after you're done playing it. And this game achieves that. It actually makes you think, all right, well, how do I attack the Army of the Potomac and kind of get them out of Washington? You know, it kind of gives you, it starts making you think about theories and strategies and stuff like that. All right, late August 1861. All right, let's see, where was I? Okay, here we go. I have the Carolina department there, and they're going to give me an extra 4,000 men for a total of 26,000 men. Where the heck did he go? Is he taking my bait? Yes, he did. He went to Winchester, which basically means Washington is wide open. What a fool. What an absolute fool. Wait. Also here, Tyler's force. I wonder, 11 units. I don't know how many troops that is. Either way, we're going on the offensive. Oh, he's not even at the command potential I need him to be at. Darn it. 1596. He has about four divisions here. I wish I could make a division. So as you can see here, I have a leader that doesn't have a brigade, so this is how easy it is to kind of do this. You just click on him, hold down control, click that, and now you have, I'm actually going to have you command Cook's brigade. And that's how easy it is to get him in charge. Now the question is how to make a division. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. Now a lot of people will say, hey, if you go through a tutorial, you'll figure it out. I say this in all my games. I don't believe a game needs a tutorial. All the best games, if you look at them, don't require a tutorial. They just tell you to play. Okay, and the reason I don't believe a game should require a tutorial is the game should be simple enough. The learning curve should be so easy that it requires the player only about 5-10 minutes to learn how to play the game. Because if you're learning how to play a game, you know, that kind of takes away time from playing the game. And I'm a person that, look, if the game takes you an hour to understand and learn how to play, then there's a disconnect there. It's not as good as it should be. With this game, I didn't need to play a tutorial. I could just went in there. Now, obviously, there are certain things I'm going to pick up later on. I'm going to figure out a way to make a division. Is not yet enabled. Oh, there we go. Divisional formation is not yet enabled for your nation. There you go. That quick, that easy to understand. I like that. I don't have to play a tutorial to play the game, and I like that. All right, I'm just going to actually have him go there, I think. I'm going a little over the time that I wanted for this review, but as you can see, it gets really involved in this game here. Got 5. He has a volunteer brigade coming down with some militia. And I have about 4,000 men holding there. Can you go here? Yes, you can. Good. I'm actually going to go into assault posture. Take out that force, that brigade. You know, one thing I'm missing from this game that I didn't mention yet is the music. I really like the music in this game. And it doesn't sound like, you know, they just ripped it off a CD and say, hey, let's just use this music. This actually sounds like an actual band. And if it is, big props to you, HOD, if you actually use the band for this. Oh, I got an actual army here of 5,000 men. I'm actually going to move them here. Get some Union forces here. I love the way it is so easy to zoom. You know how you can go from actually being in a smaller area here and kind of devising a strategy to kind of get the bigger picture. I love that. I got some forces here to deal with him. Solid cover. So as you can see, I'm going to probably do one more turn to kind of give you an idea of the battle. Actually, I'm going to hit this guy right here. He has one whole division. Forget that. No. I should go straight to him. That will take 6 days to get there. Destroy that division. So as you can see, that's basically the gist of the game. Now, I always base my recommendation off every game, whether to buy the game or not buy the game, off whether I would actually spend my hard-earned money to buy this game. And I can tell you, I would. The game is simple, easy to learn. It's it's intuitive enough to actually play it. And it's addictive. I'll be honest. So if you needed a kind of a nudge whether you should buy the game or not, my recommendation is I would buy the game, and I would buy it if with my own hard-earned money. And a good Civil War games are. Ooh, did I just? Yes! I just blew away that brigade from West Virginia. It took 461 men. Beautiful. Ooh, I love that. I love that. I just blew away that brigade from West Virginia. And then you have Floyd. Again, the problem is, which one was he? Floyd. Morgantown. Where was Morgantown? No, that was the Shenandoah Force. Okay, so that's these guys here. And it was a Confederate victory. Good. I took them out. So as I'm ending the review, I just want to give you a heads up. My strategy that I'm going to do in this game is I'm going to try to break apart the Union Army of the Potomac piece by piece and then eventually just obliterate them. I should probably start forming up brigades at this point. He took Winchester and he took Newmarket. Damn it. That's alright. I got a Shenandoah force into Maryland terrorizing, so that's fine. I just really whooped a Union force. Unfortunately, I'm not getting the foreign powers on my side here. They're -7. I got a long way for them to come in on my side, though. Now, one thing before I finish this review, one thing I would like to see added to this game is better diplomacy options. In terms of, you have 3 here, but what I would love to see is something almost like from Hearts of Iron, where you have these nations here. You have Cuba, you have Mexico to the left, you have the Dominican Republic. What I would love to be added is the ability to actually declare war. Maybe I can go and invade Cuba while in war with the United States, kind of gain maybe some of their resources, money, and stuff like that. Or even have, the United States do the same thing, where they can develop allies here and utilize their forces and kind of invade Florida, maybe, which would be kind of cool. Just a little bit more enhanced diplomacy system would be really cool. Let's see what production I'm making. I'm making a brigade there. They'll be out. Looks like it says 1 turn, but I wonder. Developing a lot of ironclads. Anyway, so that's my review, guys. I recommend this game. If you're looking to, if you're into Civil War, especially Grand Strategy Civil War, I do recommend it. It's worth the money to purchase it. They put some really good work into it, and I give props to HOD to developing this game. It looks really cool. As you can see, I'm actually ooh, Robert E. Lee. Yes, I got Lee. Where is he? Oh, there we go. There's Robert Edward Lee. Cool. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave off the game, guys. I will post more gameplay videos in the future, so you guys can continue where I'm at. I'm actually going to save this turn here, and catch you guys in the next review or in the next gameplay video. I'll see you guys on the flip side.